So here is one simple question, to which the answer is anything but straightforward. In a fast BMW 3 Series, which is best, petrol or diesel? In the blue corner, putting the case for the twin-turbo petrol power, we have the inevitable and insatiable new BMW M3. And in the black corner, appropriately enough, is the diesel-powered Alpina D3. The M3 has more power, the D3 more torque. The M3 weighs slightly less, but the D3 is cheaper and blows a lot less carbon into the atmosphere. In theory, the debate could go on forever, but the physical battle starts right here, with test 1 being a straight fight to see which can get to 100 miles an hour the fastest. In both cars we turned the traction control systems off and simply left them in drive and nailed it. The D3 got off the line better, thanks to its softer suspension perhaps, and for most of the way to 100 miles an hour they were pretty much inseparable, but in the end the M3 nicked it just. So, after the go test, we did the stop test, hitting the brakes in both cars from 100 miles an hour as hard as possible. And this time, as you can see, the D3 pulled one back, beating the M3 by a whisker. Test 3, noise. Which one sounds the best from the outside? With both cars wide open in third then fourth gear, we'll let you make your own minds up on this one. Test 4, handling. We didn't think we'd take two rear-wheel drive BMWs to our favourite test track without ruining some rubber in the name of science. After that, however, we got the stopwatch out and basically just timed them both through our handling course. I did one run in each car with the traction control turned off, mainly to see A, which one was quickest, and B, which one felt the best. The D3 was a peach. The M3, on the other hand, was a bit of a handful, quite frankly, as you can see. Result, completely against our expectations. The D3 was a teeny bit quicker, and it felt tidier and a fair bit less manic near the limit as well. Test 5, how do they make you feel behind the wheel? So inside the D3, inside its cabin, it's a very nice mix actually, because it feels initially much like a regular 3 Series. But the more kind of time you spend looking at the detail and at the steering wheel and the stitching and the headlining and stuff like that, you just think, no, this is no normal 3 Series. This is actually a very different car from a 3 Series. And it's lovely, actually. It's beautifully refined. The quality of the leather is about 10 notches higher than you get in most BMWs. And because basically what Alpina do when they get a 3 Series into their workshops is they completely take it to bits. They strip it down to pretty much a bare interior and then rebuild it with nicer bits, nicer parts. And it feels like it. It feels expensive and luxuriant and yet very refined and very comfortable in here. It really is one of the strong points, I think, of the D3, and that is just how calm and sort of relaxed it makes you feel behind the wheel. Very, very nice cabin inside this car. The other thing you notice about the D3, particularly having climbed out of the M3, is just how soothing and smooth the powertrain is. I mean, there's almost no noise at all that comes from the engine, which mean, that's full throttle, 4th gear, 5th gear, 115 miles an hour, and yet you hardly have to raise your voice. It feels like just the most rapid limousine that you can possibly think of. And you can change the personalities of the D3 by using this button down here. You can go to Sport, you can go to Comfort, you can go to Eco Pro, just as you can with other BMWs. And then on the other side of the coin, you can go to Sport Plus. And that stiffens the dampers and makes everything, gearbox, throttle response much more urgent. So there's one car in the Alpina D3, but there are many, many subtleties, and there are many actual different cars under one roof. The M3 definitely feels more sporting than the D3 as soon as you climb inside it. Its seats, they just got that much more support. The steering wheel is actually a little bit bigger than the D3's, but has this much chunkier, more sporty feeling rim. The dials are a bit more kind of funky. And the other thing you notice immediately in the M3 is that there's just more noise. There's more tyre noise, a little bit more exhaust noise, a little bit more engine noise. And as a result, it doesn't feel anywhere near as calm or refined or as expensive. And the faster you drive the M3, as you can tell because I'm having to raise my voice, the louder it gets. The trouble is, the noise it makes isn't that lovely. It's just kind of sort of gruff. It's purposeful and definitely more sporting, but it's not a lovely noise, so therefore it's not sort of that great that there's more of it. The paddles for the gearbox definitely feel bigger. The standard gearbox is the manual, but this one's obviously got the paddle shifter in it. It works really well, but I'm not sure about the noise. I'm really not sure about the noise. The one thing that the M3 does do rather beautifully, of course, is that kind of thing. But even then, I'm not so sure that I prefer doing that in the M3 than in the D3. The D3 has got an optional diff, the M3 has a standard M diff. But the combination of the way the M3's torque comes in, which is very, very aggressive, and the mechanical way in which the diff works, which is also very, very aggressive, means you can get these great big gobs of oversteer, as you probably saw back then. Some of which I didn't want. I'm beginning to like the D3 more and more. And so that's it. D3 versus M3. Which wins? The M3 is quicker, but it's also more of a handful and less comfortable. The D3 is more economical by miles and is less leery on the edge, but then it neither sounds nor steers just as sweetly as the M3. The more exciting car is the M3, no question, but then the more relevant car, you could say, is the D3. And if you have 50 grand to spend on either of them, then you will not be remotely disappointed. Personally, I'd go for the D3, and if any of you disagreed with me, then I'd be the first to understand why.